All right, I'm back with another amazing success story. One of my Video Business Academy students, his name is Samuel, has achieved an incredible success. He went from making $1,000 to $2,000 a month to over $11,000 last month. Absolutely incredible, and I want to share his story with you and let him actually tell it. So let's get into it. All right, thank you so much for taking the time, Samuel. Samuel, please introduce yourself real quick. You are a videographer, right? How long have you been a videographer for? Where are you from? And what are the kind of videos you make?
Sure. Yeah, so I've been a videographer now. Well, I've been doing video stuff in general for probably 12, 13 years, ever since I was like a young teenager. But I've only really started to try and make money from videography in the last 4 to 5 years. I'm originally from the UK, originally from Oxford, but I am currently in Canada, living here with my wife, who's Canadian. My yeah, so what I do with my videography currently is real estate. So that's my niche. And that's kind of what I've been pursuing.
Nice. Have you always been in that niche, or is that
No,
something?
that's something that I picked when I joined the VBA.
Okay, when we made you pick a niche.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Before
actually,
that, I was all over the place.
okay, and we're actually going to talk about that in a second. But before we do, I mean, we have something to celebrate here. You just told me before you were in VBA, when you were running your video business, you were making about $1,000 to $2,000 a month. How much did you make last month?
So last month I made just over 11,000.
So from 1 to 2K a month to $11,000 a month. How does that feel?
It was really good. It felt before doing VBA, that felt completely unattainable. Like that wasn't even in the ballpark of what I was aiming for. I was basically just aiming for the minimum that I need to put food on the table and like pay rent, right? Yeah, so it's kind of slightly mind-blowing.
So, so what has changed for you mindset wise? I mean, you said you aimed for pretty much the minimum just to put food on the table. What has changed by going through the VBA, through the Video Business Academy, that you're now able to suddenly make $11,000 in one single month?
I think the mindset that, oh, because video is kind of an art form, artists struggle to make money, and therefore you've got kind of this cliche that they're all struggling, starving artists, right? Just trying to do passion projects, just trying to get stuff off the ground. And I guess that cliche, that stereotype kind of subconsciously stuck with me. Just thinking this is what I'm straddled with, this is what it's going to be like for the foreseeable future. I didn't really think of it as a viable way to make a lucrative business. Yeah, I just, because of the whole idea that it's almost a badge of honor, it seems, in the sort of the artist world, to be strapped for money, because that shows that you're really doing what
What do you love?
exactly.
So
So I
let's
think,
get into that. Are you doing what you love now?
yeah, actually, I was a little nervous, to be honest, when I had to pick a niche, when I had to kind of approach it from a more business mindset, because I was like, real estate, like that doesn't really light my passion. Like I really want to make narrative short films and long form films as well. But I was out filming the other day, and I was realizing that I was doing what I loved. I got up at 5 a.m. to go up to the mountains to get a drone shot for the video, right? And I didn't have to do that. The client didn't ask me specifically to do that, but I was like, no, this is going to make the video really, really cool. So I'm going to do it. And it was kind of at that moment where I was like, you know what? I do really love what I'm doing right now.
So let's scratch that artist's badge of honor. Now you're making money and you're doing what you love, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. So congratulations for achieving that. That's great. Now, when you joined VBA, because you never really thought that this was possible, or you never really thought about that, yet you still joined the Video Business Academy. Did you have thoughts like, hey, this must be a scam, or is this really going to work? Is this, I mean, it sounds weird to be making 10K a month.
Yeah, for sure. There were definitely the initial reaction I had was, is this legit? You know, it seems too good to be true. Is there like a way of that this guy can just teach people to make $10,000 a month regularly? And that's just like, surely if there was a way of doing that, everyone would be doing it. That was kind of my thought. And yeah, I did kind of wonder for a bit, to be honest. But I had come to the point in my career and in my personal life as well, where I knew I had to make the video thing work. You know, you can't survive on 1 to 2K a month. And so I was working other jobs as well. I was kind of just, yeah, but it was unsustainable. And so it got to the point where it's like, okay, I need to make this work. And if I can't make this work this year, then I'm going to have to do something else. I'm going to have to get a normal 9 to 5. And so this was kind of my last ditch attempt, my desperate
The
reach
leap of
for
faith.
something. Exactly. It was. So, yeah.
Nice. So I mean, you took that leap of faith despite thinking that maybe it is a scam, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it's not going to work out. Now, when you joined, how did that make you feel? Like, did you feel like that kind of fear went away fairly quickly when you got to learn, got to know the team and everything, and how the VBA is structured, or did you still feel a bit nervous about it?
I think I realized pretty quickly that it wasn't a scam, just because of how good the coaches are and how well everything's laid out and the quality of the videos and the coaching is really high. I still have doubts whether I could achieve it. Because it's like, well, this clearly is working for some people because, you know, on the Facebook group, people are constantly posting about their latest wins. And so I was convinced that, yeah, this is clearly working for some people, but I didn't know whether it could work for me. But your sort of your guarantee kind of helps with that. That I'm not going to get kicked off the course until I've actually reached $10,000 a month. So
which you did, yet you still got some time.
Yeah, exactly.
So now obviously the question comes up, what's your next goal? Now that you've hit 11K, do you just want to sustain that? Is there something more you want to achieve revenue wise? Is there other goals that you're having for 2023?
Yeah, I think I'd love to sustain that. I think that's kind of my goal is to make that a regular thing, hitting over 10K a month. Because it's in some ways it's like, well, if you do it once, great, but so what? You know, it needs to become a regular thing. And so I'm definitely on my way to doing that. But yeah, keeping that regular. For this year, I'd also really like to start collaborating with other filmmakers. And so it's not me doing absolutely everything, whether it's getting some help with the editing or getting a second shooter or helping to getting someone on board with outreach and sales and that sort of thing. I'd love to expand my team so that, well, I'd like to create a team so it's not just me doing it.
Yeah, which is another aspect of VBA, right? The networking and connecting with others. I don't know, how much are you leveraging that? How much are you connecting with other videographers and filmmakers in VBA?
A little bit, not as much as I could, for sure. Yeah, I've got some group chats with other videographers.
Okay.
But yeah, I could and should do more, I think.
100%. That's what it's here for, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say for you is the thing that impacts you the most in VBA, or like what's the most useful part of it?
I think having, I think it's twofold. The first thing is having coaches like yourself on hand at all times is super helpful. Especially coaches that don't let you just disappear. That's definitely a temptation. Like, let's say, you know, you've got your sales targets for the month and you know you haven't reached them. It's kind of scary because you're like, they're gonna be like hounding me, asking me why I didn't hit my targets. And that kind of gives you extra motivation to do that. So there's a lot of accountability, which I don't like in the moment, but after the fact, I appreciate. And second of all, the video courses, the 5 weeks, the video training is a really, really good resource as well. Because it does all of the hard work for you in a lot of ways, figuring out common objection handling, like things like how to set up Google Workspaces, Zoom, Calendly, all of these pieces of software that otherwise you might take a long time researching, which is the best, scheduling software, how to set that up. It's like a lot of that tedious admin work is all taken care of for you. So you can focus more on, learning how to run a business.
Interesting. Now, let's assume there is somebody watching this interview right now, and they're like, okay, so there's the Samuel guy. He met this Nick guy from like over the internet somewhere, and he trusted him and sent him some money, and now he's suddenly making 5 figures in a single month. This must be a scam. Like, what would you tell a person like that?
Why does it have to be a scam? Like, it doesn't, there's nothing inherently scammy about it unless you've had negative experiences, I guess. But just because, I don't know, you saw a bad movie one time doesn't mean you should never ever watch another movie ever again in your life, right?
That's a good analogy. I like it.
Yeah, I think just look at it for what it actually is. Do a bit of research, reach out to some students on Instagram, ask some questions. Just do your due diligence for sure, but don't go in thinking it has to be a scam, because it doesn't.
And what would you say to somebody who asks themselves like, yeah, well, okay, it isn't a scam. It's clearly working. I see Samuel is very successful with it. I see all the other successful students online. But is this really going to work for me? Since you were in the same shoes, like what advice would you give such a person?
I think it'll work for you if you're willing to do what you're told, if you're willing to follow the course, do the steps, do the outreach. If you go in thinking you know best, if you go in thinking, I'm not going to do this because that's cheap, or I'm not going to do this because I don't want to do it, then you'll really, really struggle. And I had a little bit of that going in, because some of the outreach, like sending cold calls and cold messages and stuff, that naturally makes me feel a little uncomfortable because I don't like doing that. But the reason why it took me 5 months or so to reach 10K is because I didn't jump in with that as much as I could have, or I should have. So yeah, if you're willing to do what you're told, go in with an open mind, and just trust the process, then I'm sure you'll find success. But if you go in thinking, no, not going to do it, I'm just going to do the bits that I want to do, then probably don't bother.
Yeah, fully agree. And same thing with like many people thinking, oh, I can just sign up and then suddenly I make 10K a month. This is not like a magic trick. I don't just do the magic wand and suddenly you make 10K. It's work. You got to put in the work, which obviously you have done, right? And now you get to reap the fruits. But this is not a magic trick. It's like work. It's a system. It's a step-by-step guide, and it makes everything easier, but you still got to do it, right? So I always say that to double down on this. Now I really wonder, for that 11K month, how was that structured? Like, how many clients was that, and what kind of projects?
Yeah, so it was actually only 2 clients. One of them was just over $9,000. Nice. It was for a real estate agent, and we were doing neighborhood tours. So it was essentially 7 neighborhood tours and a testimonial video.
Nice.
And a few shorts.
How did you get that client?
So through Trojan Horses. Trojan Horses are just where you send basically cold messages to
on LinkedIn or
potential on Facebook.
Facebook, nice.
Yeah. And which is funny because I don't enjoy doing them at all. I prefer to do video pitches, but all of my clients so far have come from Trojan Horses. So there you go. It
Well,
works.
there might be a sign for you to keep doing that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah, and initially he didn't really know what he wanted, but he knew what I was offering sparked some interest. And so initially his budget was only 3 to 4K. And then I presented 3 packages to him and managed to upsell him to a just under 10K package. And he's super pumped for the videos.
Amazing.
So yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's amazing. So you literally didn't have to spend a single dollar on this client. You just pretty much invested your time reaching out and obviously in return won this project. It's amazing. Really
Yeah,
nice.
and it's kind of it's a great example of the perfect client, right? They're out there. It's just finding them and getting their attention. And I did, and it's been great.
Yeah, and the only way to find them is to actually reach out to them, because otherwise they don't know you exist, and then there's no point in you getting that deal. So it is.
Yep.
Amazing, man. Now, so that people don't think you're a paid actor or something, where can they find you online?
Yeah, so you can find me at narrowgatevideo.com or samuelherklotz.com. That's my name. And yeah, you can see all my stuff there. You can see all the stuff I've done before VBA, and then start soon. If you're watching this right now, then you'll start to see some of the stuff that I'm doing through VBA on there.
What's your Instagram? So I can link that below.
My Instagram. Yeah, I'm basically completely inactive on Instagram. It's terrible. I don't even remember what my handle is. That tells you how inactive I am.
Okay, we'll keep it with the website then. Fair enough. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, as some last words to inspire videographers around the world, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would tell them that you don't have to choose between doing what you love and making money. You can do both. You just have to work hard and work smart.
Nice. I love it. All right, Samuel, thank you so much for taking the time. Amazing story. And
No worries.
much further success.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much for spending the time and actually watching this full success interview. I guess that you're pretty inspired and that you want to achieve the same thing. Now, if you do, I actually recorded a free video training for you. It's linked right next to me. Super simple, go watch it. I explain how the VBA, the Video Business Academy, works, how you can get there to where Samuel is and actually build the video business of your dreams. So see you there.